Hello, my name is Bianca, and today I'll be talking about the NUMMI case study. So, in my agenda today, I'll be talking about the background, the introduction, the evaluation of the case, proposed solutions and / changes, further actions, conclusion, and references. So, for the background of the summary, I will talk about the NUMMI partnership between GM and Toyota that started in 1984, Toyota's adoption, success between Toyota and the NUMMI partnership that they have, GM struggles with the partnership, and the end of NUMMI in 2010 due to GM going bankrupt in 2009. So the background timeline, so the early 80s, the U.S. motive industry faces recession. GM's Vermont plant closes down. And in 1984, NUMMI joint venture formed between GM and Toyota, with GM providing the plant and Toyota contributing production. 1986, Toyota opens its first U.S. plant in Georgetown, Kentucky, based on NUMMI's experiences, becoming Toyota's largest plant in America. And then in the 1980s, GM launches Saturn to emulate the Toyota's manufacturing models, but with limited resources, not a good vehicle. And then in 2009, GM withdraws from NUMMI because of how GM went bankrupt and they pulled out of the partnership. And then in 2009, Toyota announces the closure of the NUMMI plant, ending the partnership completely. And then so the key problems are limited learning from GM. GM lacked involvement in operations, and because of that, Toyota had to run the plant mostly alone. The cultural resistance within GM culture conflicted with Toyota's approach. They didn't want to learn anything and just always wanted to do what they wanted to do. The Toyota's one side of control. Toyota dominated the NUMMI, benefiting more than GM because Toyota ran mostly the plant alone. They took up a lot of information and learned a lot. And then labor relations and union challenges. Toyota struggled with the UNAW adoption in America, so they weren't used to all these changes, and the economic challenges and market conditions. NUMMI faced financial struggles leading to GM's exit. And so the evaluation of the case is NUMMI's failed. GM couldn't adapt to Toyota's methods, the cultural barriers, internal resistance, and control imbalances, both for the workers, since most of the GM workers didn't want to adapt to any change, so it just really had a big confliction challenge between that, the cultural barriers, internal resistance, and control imbalances, and then Toyota's success. Toyota's expanded in the U.S., and then key issues. GM lacked strategic and cultural alignment. So for the SWOT analysis, some of the strengths that I picked out was the efficient operations. Toyota production system, or the TPS, emphasizes strong internal operations and efficiency, and then high product quality, strong quality control, and output led to superior products. Weaknesses: resistance to change. GM's employees resisted adaptation to Toyota's continuous improvement principles, and then cultural misalignment. GM's hierarchy struggles clash with Toyota's emphasis on teamwork and empowerment. So some of the opportunities were the U.S. manufacturing. NUMMI's allowed Toyota to produce vehicles in the U.S. to avoid any tariffs, and then market demand, growing concerns about the fuel boost demand for fuel-efficient vehicles, which NUMMI was well positioned to produce. Some of the threats were economic decline, recession, and declining car sales in the U.S. pose financial risk, and the management friction. Long-term differences in management styles between GM and Toyota created tension. And the mission statement is deliver safe, innovative vehicles globally with advanced technology and sustainability, growth and philosophy, focus on profitable growth and philosophy, focus on profitability and leadership with safety, integrity, and environment responsibilities, and team and culture, and empower team, foster innovations, and support communities through education and responsible practices. So the main problem was the failure to scale. GM didn't replicate NUMMI's success across its operations, leaving its lessons isolated. So everything that the NUMMI company was learning, only that plant was learning anything new. Oh, and then the main problems were the failure to scale. GM didn't replicate NUMMI's success across its operations, leaving its lessons isolated. Resistance to change. GM's hierarchy resisted Toyota's TPS, fearing loss of control. And then culture inertia. GM executives faced pushback when trying to apply NUMMI's practices, highlighted culture resistance. And the proposed solution/change. Change management strategies. GM needs a structured plan to scale NUMMI success across the country. Leadership and culture alignment. GM leadership should have embraced Toyota's principles for lasting culture change. And the knowledge transfer system. GM should have formalized processes to spread NUMMI's insight across its plants, not just at NUMMI. The final recommendations: align leadership and culture. So GM leadership resistance prevented tips adaptation. Since that nobody wanted to learn, they couldn't spread that knowledge. Leadership training, training executives in Toyota's methods to foster culture change. And then transparent communication. Clear communication builds trust and reduces resistance. And the long-term vision, focus on sustainability growth and reinforce the TPS principles. And further actions, encourage continuous learning, promote ongoing training and feedback, enhance accountability, develop mentorship and drive change, facility knowledge share, create a system for best practices across the plant. The facility knowledge sharing, create systems for best practices across plants. And my resources. Thank you so much.